You ever been just completely stuck on a problem? You stare at it, you wrestle with it, but you just keep hitting the same wall over and over? Well, what if I told you that wall isn't the problem? That wall, it's actually your own mind doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So let's dive in and see how we can actually learn to think differently. All right, check this out. It's a classic. 9 dots, 4 straight lines, and you can't lift your pen from the paper. Seriously, go ahead and pause here, give it a shot. If you've seen this before, you know what's coming. But if not, you're probably feeling that wall I just talked about. It feels impossible, right?
And look, if you're feeling trapped, that's not you failing. It's actually a sign that your brain is incredibly efficient. Our minds are built to recognize and use patterns, which is fantastic for most of daily life. But when it comes to creativity, that exact same efficiency can become a cage.
And that cage, well, it's built by what we can call the problem with being right. See, our brain's default mode is so obsessed with being logical, with being correct at every single step, that it completely misses the creative leap we need for a real breakthrough.
This default mode has a name. Edward de Bono, the guy who came up with all this, calls it vertical thinking. And it is. It's analytical, it's step-by-step, and it's super powerful. It's how we solve math problems and build bridges. Think of it like digging a hole, deeper and deeper, which is great if you're in the right spot, but totally useless if you realize you need to be digging somewhere else entirely.
So, okay, if vertical thinking is the box we're stuck in, how in the world do we get out? We need a whole new way to think, a way to deliberately, break free from those deep mental grooves we've carved for ourselves. So, I want you to imagine your mind for a second. Picture it like a totally smooth, sandy landscape. Now, when a new bit of information comes along, it's like the first drop of rain. It just lands and makes a little random dent. Okay, so as more info, more rain starts to fall, what happens? It naturally starts to find those first little dents and, well, it deepens them. Those little trickles, they turn into streams. And these streams, these are your familiar thoughts, your habits, your go-to patterns. And the more you think a certain way, the deeper and deeper that channel gets carved. Sooner or later, those channels become these huge, deep rivers. And now, whenever new information shows up, it doesn't just land randomly anymore. Nope, it's instantly swept up by these powerful rivers and just flows down the exact same old path. This is your brain's self-organizing system in action. Super efficient, yeah, but also super resistant to finding any new routes. And this is where lateral thinking comes in. So while vertical thinking is all about following that river, lateral thinking is about deliberately cutting across the landscape. It's generative, not selective. It makes these big intuitive leaps. And this is the big one, look at this third point, it's okay with being wrong at some steps if it helps you get to the right solution in the end. It's not about digging that same hole deeper, it's about grabbing your shovel and starting a brand new hole somewhere else entirely. I mean, de Bono just nails it with this quote. That constant need to be right, that fear of making a mistake, that's exactly what keeps us stuck in those old, comfortable riverbeds of thought. Real creativity, it demands that we let go of that. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually, do it? Well, the first tool is to challenge everything. Challenge your assumptions, especially the ones you don't even know you have. It's what companies like Airbnb did. They looked at the hotel industry and asked a really simple question. Wait, why do you need to own a building to rent out a room?
All right, let's go back to those 9 dots. You ready for the secret? The rules never ever said you had to stay inside the box that the dots make. That boundary, that was all you. Your brain saw a square and just assumed, okay, gotta follow the rules of the square. That hidden assumption, that's the whole trap right there.
And here is the beautiful solution. The second you give yourself permission to go outside that imaginary box, this impossible puzzle becomes almost laughably simple. Look at this. Line 1 goes way outside the lines. Line 2 shoots right up past the top. Line 3 cuts back through the middle. And boom, line 4 connects it all. See? It was never really about the dots. It was about the box your mind put them in.
All right, let's look at tool number 2. And this one feels even more counterintuitive. The idea is simple. If you're stuck going forward, what happens if you try going backward? You deliberately reverse the problem just to see what new ideas shake loose.
The logic here is kind of like kicking off a wall to push yourself in a totally new direction. Think about Cirque du Soleil. They looked at the idea that a circus needs animals and they just reversed it. They built a global phenomenon by creating a circus without any animals. This little act of provocation, it just shatters your normal thinking and lets all these ideas come together in a completely new way.
This famous exchange is just a perfect little example of this in action. So, Lady Astra gives him an action. She'll poison the coffee. Now, a normal, vertical response would be to argue back, right? But Churchill doesn't do that. He completely reverses the perspective. He accepts her idea, but just changes who the action is about, from her to himself. It's an absolutely brilliant lateral jump.
Okay, here's a more down-to-earth example. So you've got a shepherd, his sheep, and they're blocking a car on a narrow little lane. The obvious vertical thinking solution is, what? You try to shove all the sheep out of the way so the car can get by, which, as you can imagine, is difficult, stressful, and probably pretty messy.
But what's the lateral solution? You just reverse the action. Instead of trying to move the sheep past the moving car, the shepherd thinks, wait, what if I move the sheep past a stationary car? So he just stops the car, turns his flock around, and calmly walks them right past it. It's elegant, it's simple, and it came from just reversing the obvious assumption. So here's the really important thing to get. Lateral thinking isn't just a bunch of clever tricks for solving puzzles. It's a habit. It's a deliberate choice to step outside of those comfortable mental rivers and go explore the rest of the landscape.
So let's wrap this up. What are the big takeaways? First off, just recognize that your brain's default setting is that efficient but rigid vertical thinking. It's not a bug, it's a feature, right? But the good news is you can train yourself to think laterally. So how do you do it? Start by challenging your hidden assumptions. Always look for the invisible box around your problems, and then try reversing the obvious. And maybe, most importantly of all, give yourself permission to be wrong sometimes, because often that's the only way to find a truly new idea.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Look, we all operate under a whole set of invisible rules and obvious truths every single day, right? At work, at home, everywhere. So I'll leave you with this question. What's just one assumption you've been taking for granted? And what might happen if, just for fun, you decided to reverse it? You never know. The answer might just be your next great idea.